Hi, everyone. My name is Steve Zeitlin. I'm the director of City Lore, and I want to welcome you to City Lore's very first live stream event. It's called Be the Change, a Friendship Called Undugu. Thank you all for coming. This is part one of a two-part series. If anything goes wrong this time, check us out next time. It's going to get better. We'd love you to come back next Thursday, June 25th, as Annie and Simba present new work. And I have to tell you that tonight, even though you're all muted at the moment, there's going to be a special participatory finale. So you'll want to stay around for that and don't miss it. On behalf of City Lore, Annie and Simba, we'd like to thank Phyllis and the Nurse Practitioner Healthcare Foundation, Andy Engel, Stacey Abramson, and the Reimagined End of Life Festival. And I want to thank Eva and Molly from the City Lore staff, without whom this event would have been utterly impossible. And with great pleasure, I want to introduce our artists tonight, who've been in each other's lives and work for 22 years. Simba Yangala was born in Lubumbashi. She is an educator, dancer, choreographer, storyteller, and performer, and the artistic director of JungleDom Network. She tours with her show, What Forgiveness Looks Like, what a wonderful title, a fundraiser for 4 Congolese orphans. In one of her poems, Annie writes about Simba's experiences as a refugee. Simba ran out of Zaire. The family ran in all different directions to the nearest city where shooting was not happening, toward America. Here in America, on the very first day, she found herself totally lost, riding to the end of the line on the D train, which, as Annie writes, took her right back to the ocean she escaped from. Annie Lanzillotto is a Bronx-born performance artist, author, poet, songwriter, actor, and writing teacher, and a very good friend of mine. As a reviewer said of her book, she has a voice at once as richly soulful as her mother's lasagna and as bracingly unsentimental as her father's marine masculinity. Lanzillotto's stories bounce and stretch with the elasticity of her trusted Spalding. The Spalding, a New York Yorkism for the classic New York City ball, was ubiquitous on New York City streets and was Annie's great love growing up. Spalding's taught Annie to find adventure, to fly, to roll, to float, to bounce, to be buoyant. And when she fell, her mother would say, "What do you think? You're made of rubber?" This is what a Spalding looks like. But the Spalding that she slept with under her pillow became her metaphor for bouncing back from lymphoma and cancer, which she suffered from for much of her lifetime. And we thought for tonight, the Spalding can be a metaphor for all of us, that we may someday and always bounce back. So I'm going to throw this quasi Spalding to Simba and start by asking her a question. Simba, tell us what Ndugu means and how you came to be Ndugu with Annie. And last of all, can you catch this Spalding?
Sure. Got it. Thank you, Steve. Thank you so much. Before I say what Ndugu means, I'm going to share my name. I'm going to say my whole name. I remember when I came to the United States. I remember when I came to the United States, somebody, I was asked to write my full name. So the officer asked, "Can you write your full name?" And I said, "What is the full name?" He said, "Write your whole name." So I had to write my whole name, and I did. So I wrote my whole name on the piece of paper. Simba Nyota Mwangala Bushiku Wakatolo Ina Banza Waluba Sandra Yangala. I mean, there's like a colonial heritage in my name. Sandra. That's the colonial part. And after the officer looked at my name, he said, everything after the hyphen. He said, everything after the hyphen, drop it, and then write Sandra Yangala after that. So that's how I learned how to write my first, middle, and last name. And so now I write it Simba Sandra Yangala. I don't write everything after the hyphen. And I learned how, in the United States, I don't have to use everything from after the hyphen. And that was wonderful. So Ndugu, my Ndugu Annie. Ndugu means I come with my flaws, you bring yours, and we see each other with love. That's what Ndugu means. It's an occurrence that's a little bit rare in the United States. There's no such thing as Ndugu in the United States. Because if there were a lot of Ndugus in the United States, Derek Chauvin wouldn't put his knee on George Floyd's neck. Ndugus do not do that to each other. Ndugus, they love each other and they care for each other. They watch out for each other. And thank you so much. And Annie, where are you?
I'm here, Simba. Do you see me?
Where? Are you inside, outside? Where are you?
Where am I?
Yeah.
I don't know. Throw me the ball. I want to
catch it.
All right. Whoa, Simba dropped it. Wait.
Pick it up, Annie. Do good. Pick up.
My Spalding always goes away.
Oh, no.
Simba, everything falls. And the message of the Spalding is it's got to fall and it's got to disappear and it's got to find its hiding spot. Part of what Ndugu means to me is that we know how to say each other's names. And in this country, we shouldn't Americanize names. I think we should all say each other's names. It's very important to me. And I know that you know my name and I know your name. Maybe it doesn't come perfect. I'm going to give it a try.
Okay.
Simba Nyota, Wakatolo Mwangala, Bushiko Nabanzo Waluba Sandra Yangala.
You got the colonial parts too.
Okay.
Sandra. Yeah.
And my name, what's my name?
Annie, Raquel,
Hey.
Lanzillotto.
You say it better than anyone in my family because Italians don't know how to say their names. So Simba, you ask me where I am, inside or outside. You know I'm not outside because maybe some of you don't know, but I'm very immunocompromised from the treatments of a teenage cancer. So we are what you call sitting ducks to bacteria and viruses. And, the last time I was touched.
Annie.
Yeah.
When was the last time you had human contact?
The last time I was touched must have been over 100 days. I don't know. I'm losing count. I got to start marking the walls like the prigioniere, with the hashtags for 5, 10. Wait, that's not true. You know the last time I was touched? Yesterday. Yesterday, I walked by this big pine tree. And I had on a bare shirt because it was hot. And the branch of the pine tree brushed my arm. And I got a shiver because I remembered what it was like to be touched. But the last time I had touch from a being, like a human, was March 7th. I remember it because I was in Sloan Kettering with a double pneumonia. And March 7th, I said to the doctor on call, I couldn't breathe. I said, Doc, should I be tested for COVID-19? I mean, they tested me for every other coronavirus bacteria, virus, everything you could imagine. And she said, oh, honey, she winked at me. She said, oh, honey, if you had COVID-19, you wouldn't be presenting as you do. And I took that to mean I could talk and I could breathe on my own, and my lungs were responding to intravenous cefutriaxone. So those were 3 things I had going. And they let me go home, and Audrey took me home. Audrey's are in Dougal.
Yes.
And that was my last touch, I guess, when Audrey said goodbye, March 8th. So anyway, since I can't go outside, now when I grew up, when we went outside, everything was meet you on the corner. You know, Tony, meet me on the corner. Johnny, meet you on the corner. And where we would go is the mailbox. You know, those big, beautiful blue mailboxes on corners in New York. Do you remember, Simba, when mailboxes had voices?
Yes.
They
I
went,
do. Yeah.
Now, no more voices.
Mm.
But we still have to have our voice. Oh, Simba, I gotta feed the meter. You got a quarter?
Oh, yes, I do. Catch it, Annie.
All right, hurry up. Got it, thank you. You know, time is always running out. And if the meat is not fed, then it gives me anxiety, like, when is that time gonna expire? Time is something we have to feed if we want more of it. It's not like a light we could put on and off. You feed time. You know, Simba, sometimes I just feed the meter and stand there listening to it until time runs out. Because, you know, time always runs out. And every day I feed that meter, and guess what I do for that hour? Take a guess.
What do you do?
I write. I write
Oh.
for that hour. I put in the quarter and I sit down and I write for that hour. So in Dougal, I call this my corner. I built my corner inside because I can't go outside. And I call it in Dougal Corner.
Yeah.
And this is a place where there's no other. Other is a word we remove from our vocabulary within Dougal.
Yes.
Because to not recognize others as other was the goal of every prophet, saint, seer, and soul. And that's the whole spirit of the work of being in Dougal. And it's a joy, and it's a practice, and it's a way of being. And it's a way to mother everyone you come in contact with. I mother you, you mother me in Dougal. In Dougal, you're tired. In Dougal, I lift you. In Dougal, you need a lawyer, I need a lawyer. You need to eat, then I need to cook. And you know, this corner inside, like you see that yellow light? Everything right now, you got green, red, yellow. You got green, you go, red, you stop. You got yellow, you got to make a decision.
Mm.
Stop, go, I don't know. Stop, go, I don't know. Green, red, yellow. But now for me, it seems like I'm all in yellow light. Do I go outside? If I go to a pine tree, can I take off a mask? Can I go to a march? When do I go out? Do I let anyone in? How far do I have to stay away from anybody? Can I take a walk without an N95? Can I go see a doctor? It's all yellow light. There's no clarity of stop and go. And I wanted to tell you about, you know, being alone all the time. I've been painting. And this is one of my paintings, Simba. I call it Stepping on Colors. And you see it behind me too. And stepping on colors is a consciousness for me. So this tunnel is in a 7,000-year-old city in the south of Italy called Matera. Matera was carved cliffs into the limestone plateau 7,000 years ago. And that limestone plateau is called the Merge. And the Merge is where all my ancestors are from for hundreds of years, not far from Matera. That plateau of limestone goes from Basilicata, where Matera is, right to the sea, to Puglia, where all my ancestors are from. So if you walk up the hill toward what's on top of the hill in these old towns, it's always a church, right? So in Matera, it's a basilica. And the basilica is dedicated to La Madonna Bruna. Now, Simba, La Madonna Bruna is the brown Madonna. And this particular Madonna has a bruise on her cheek. It's really, there's some stories attached to her. Think about it. So when you're walking up the hill, this tunnel is to the right. It's called Salita Castelvecchio. And I took a picture of it because it captured me that there's a series of steps through a tunnel. And when I was home, sheltering in place, alone, I printed out a picture of this tunnel and I painted each step a different color: blue, red, green, yellow, pink, every color I could imagine. And this is deep in my consciousness that every step we take, we're stepping on colors. Because when I was a little kid in the Bronx, we had this little cement backyard. But you know what my father did? He painted stones shaped on the cement squares. And he painted each stone a color. And he just mixed colors he found in the basement. But he had pink, he had orange, he had blue, he had green. And when I had nothing to do as a kid, which was often, because that's the best education. You want to educate your kids? Give them nothing to do. Let them figure it out. So part of what I did when I had nothing to do was I would hop from the blue stone to the pink stone to the white stone to the yellow stone, the yellow to the red to the orange. And every step I took on every different color, I felt I was in a new world I could create. And right now, I feel we're all in this tunnel together. And yeah, there's the promise of getting through the tunnel. There's the promise of this light beyond, but that's not where we are. We are in the tunnel together. And we're walking, marching, dancing, moving forward. And it's very important. Even if I can't march in the streets, I could march in that tunnel. And every magic step with purpose has to be a walk. And we have to leave good in our wake on every step. There's a consciousness of walking like Mother Cabrini. In New Orleans and New York, there's a consciousness, oh, Mother Cabrini walked here. Mother Cabrini walked here. How do you know? Because she left things in her place. Everywhere she walked. Now, she was a businesswoman. It wasn't just about prayer. It was prayer and action. She was savvy and street smart. So where she walked, you see schools, you see hospitals, you see nurseries for children, micro businesses for women. And we have to heal the earth and heal our country with every step. I got a lot more to say, but Simba, I'm passing you the ball. You ready?
Yes.
Here it comes. It's going to be a high one.
All right.
Go ahead.
I got it. I got it.
Mother walking.
I like when you talk about bruises on the cheeks. My grandmother had bruises on her cheeks. It was a tribal tattoo. It was meaning for beauty. So she had bruises on her cheeks and she had a line. It was a straight line in between her two eyes and bruise on the cheeks. It was the tattoo for beauty. And you needed that tattoo to get married. So once you get that tattoo, that means you're beautiful to get married. So she lived all her life with that tattoo. And
who gave it to her, Simba? Like, when did she get it?
It was before she was a teenager. So she needed to get the tattoo before her period. So they get the tattoo before you become a woman.
Wait,
I wasn't born then.
While you're on this subject, Steve wanted you to say about what you have on.
Oh, the makeup. Yeah, when you were talking about the bruise on the cheeks. But mine, it's makeup that I put on and I can take it off. This is majestic. So this one is for majestic. It's for King George. That's why I put the King George Floyd. And I wanted to talk about life and loss. And Have you ever negotiated with someone on their deathbed?
Negotiated?
Negotiating with someone on their deathbed.
I don't know if I negotiated. What kind of negotiation?
So we did a negotiation with my grandmother. She's been telling us like, my time has come. I will die. It's for about 6-8 months. She would tell us like, my time has come and one of these days and I'll die. So when the confinement started, I was worried that my mom was here. The confinement started. She's not in Lubumbashi because she came here for a short period and she was going back. So I went to pick up my mom at my Adandugu, Awa, and I brought my mom so we can quarantine together. And I told her, I said, we have to call grandmother because they said she was not sick, just her metabolism was slowing down. So I said, I had spoken to her, but we need to speak to her. And we were all negotiating because she was telling us, I'm dying. And then my cousins that were there, they started negotiating. They said, well, can you wait until August?
Oh.
And then she said, no, I think I'm not going to make it until, I think my time, I've been saying this for a while, so I think it's coming. So I called my mom on the phone and we calling my grandmother on the phone. And then she said, I have to negotiate. She said, Mom, like, don't die. You have to wait for me. There's a disease that started here. She was saying in Kasai. She said, there's a disease that started here. I can't move right now. I am stuck in quarantine. You have to wait for me when I come so you can die. She said, no, I am not going to wait. I just told you I'm going to die. And that was like a week in. And that was after she had been telling us that we've been negotiating, and my cousins that were there around and her grandchildren, we keep negotiating, but her metabolism was really slowing down. She was not sick. She was sharp, alarmed. She had all her senses, and we keep negotiating and say like, maybe you wait for August, like a little bit, there's a quarantine right now. You can't die in the quarantine. My grandmother went to almost every funeral there was. If my grandmother was in the United States, she would be at George Floyd funeral. She went to every funeral. So everybody was like, you can't die in this moment. It's confinement. Even funeral, people won't come because we're like, this person that buried everybody have to come bury her. But that's what happened. It's like, there was nobody left. Everybody was in quarantine. And on Friday, and also another story of farewells, because she shared many stories of farewells. There's one that she told to my sister, and I took it as Babela Bela Mwana wa Muntu, wa Mufu Atelej. It's a proverb that says, when you are an orphan and you hang out with your friend who has parents, when the parents are giving advice, take that advice for yourself too. That's Babela Bela Mwana wa Muntu, wa Mufu Atelej. So the farewell story that she told, even to my sister, I took it for myself too. My sister had called her and said, I've been having, not so great things happening for me. You used to be a healer. You used to do things and you used to like do prayers and chanting and things will go better. And she said, there are things that I used to do when I was younger, when my body wasn't dying, but I can't do them anymore. I can't do them right now. But what I would tell you to do is you always have to go to Vijemukulu when I'm not going to be there.
Vijemukulu.
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 Vijemukulu is the high supreme, the biggest power, more than the power that we have in this world. So she said, you have to bring all your problems to Vijemukulu because tomorrow I may not be there. But when she told that to my sister, I took it for myself too and say, when she won't be there, I will take my problem to Vijemukulu because that's where she will return. She will return to Vijemukulu. So on Friday, because she started to telling us, and we were in denial, we're still negotiating with her because she could talk with us. We're negotiating. And it was just a true death, like the way it happens. So her metabolism was shutting down. There were people around and they still say, Kambo, utakuwa bien, pana lamuka. Everybody was in denial. And she woke up that Friday because she died on Sunday. She woke up that Friday after she hasn't talked for like 3-4 days. She woke up on Friday. There was one of her because my grandmother was a great-great-grandmother. One of the great-great-great-grandchildren was there. She woke up, they said she had this strength and she picked up the baby in her arm. She said, everything I leave it for you.
Wow.
And by the time my grandmother died, there was nothing left in her house because she had given everything. And they will ask, why are you giving this? She said, I told you I'm dying. So you gotta take everything. Why? She said, I said I'm leaving. I got my visa already. And then they're like, you going to the United States? She said, no, I got the visa to go to Vijamukulu. And on Friday, when she woke up, she asked.
Didn't tell everyone her name. We got to tell people her name.
Yes, I will tell her name. She asked, Ngalula Mbumba, Mishika, Chandanda, Therese. Oh, you heard the Therese part, right? That's the colonial heritage. So I have mine, Sandra. She has hers, Therese. So, it's a colonial heritage. They've, tap it in our name. And on Friday, when she woke up, like her last stories of goodbye, she said, Malari kule inje isha kuisha. And then they said, no. So she asked, is the disease outside finished? She was talking about the COVID. She said, Malari kule inje isha kuisha. And they said, no, malaria yaisha. They said, no, the disease is not finished yet. She said, kumi minenda kuikala kule, mite yangaria kule yu. She said, I'm gonna go sit up there and watch it from up there how it's gonna finish. And she went to sleep and woke up, and then she said, she said, why do I keep coming back from the dead? I should go already. I said everything. I told you guys everything. I said it all. I'm gonna go now. And those were her last words. And after that, she didn't speak. And slowly she breathed all the way to her last breath.
Wow. That's such a, I don't know, such moving last words, that she's going to heal what happens with the disease.
Yeah. She wanted to sit up there and see what happens. And I'm going to read 2 poems that I wrote for my grandmother. And since her death, I've been writing like you, Ndugu Annie. I've been writing. And I couldn't stop writing. So this one is called Mounting. Catch your grief before it catches you. Capture it, your sorrow griefs. Frame it before it frames you. Fragment pieces, no timetable, just a beautiful frame. And this one was in my moment where I'm doing remote learning, and my grandmother just died, and I have to keep continuing. And I felt like I didn't capture, I didn't frame it. So I said no timetable. And there's a tradition that is celebrated in Congolese culture of 40 days after someone passes. The Congolese culture believe that after 40 days is when the soul transitions. So I wrote, day 40 and counting.
Mm.
This morning, my left hand on my heart to wish a sweet soul travel to you. Oh la la, oh la la, oh la la kaku. Kaku means grandma.
So beautiful.
Oh la la means sleep well.
So beautiful, Simba.
Thank you.
Beautiful poet. Tell us about your mom now.
My mother. I spent a beautiful birthday. Annie, you and I, we just had birthday. So it was my birthday, and
I couldn't
was
have full cake because of the sheltering in place.
got a shelter in place.
Cake together.
We have to get the food. So my mother made the fufu cake. It's a baluba cake. And I was so excited. My birthday happened the Monday before Memorial Day. So I was excited that I'll take some time off from remote learning and I'll get to rest a little bit. So I was like, oh yeah, after my birthday is a Monday and it's Memorial Day. So I just didn't know I was going to spend Memorial Day while being Black. Because that's when they killed George Floyd. And I was like, oh my God, I just couldn't spend a Memorial Day after my birthday. We had to deal with all this. So I had to like pick up myself and think about remote learning. And I was trying to capture everything after all the riots started to take places, because this was very frustrating for everyone. I remember my mom doesn't speak English. They were talking about curfews and all these things. And I said, my mom will get lost. So I called my mom and I said, Mom, I totally forgot to tell you, there's going to be curfews. There's riots outside. There's the police killed a person who didn't do anything. She said, I know, because I had forgotten that I put my mom's phone in a language she can understand. So on her phone, she was following the news. And she said, I know, I saw the video, I couldn't finish watching. It was so heartbreaking. He killed the guy, like he stood on his neck for such a long time. And he called for his mama. Where is his mama? I said, Mom, she's dead. She's not alive anymore. She said, I must respond to the call. But when she said that, I didn't know what she meant, responding to the call. But it's the call of my mother had 5 girls. So she always say all the boys are her son. And as a Black mother, as a Congolese mother, she felt like that call was for her because George Floyd's mother is not there anymore. So all mothers should go there and be there and fight for him. And the days goes by and I'm thinking my mom will be fine. So she called me and I missed the call, and I had called her the next day. And I said, Mom, I missed your call. You called me yesterday. She said, yes, I was looking for the march. I was responding to the call. So what she meant is like responding to the call. She's going into the riot. My mom doesn't speak English, but what was good for me at that time is like I was speaking to her the next day. That means she had been in the march. She didn't speak English. She got lost. And then now she's back home safely. And then she said, I saw in the message, Barisima 8 heures. I saw 8 heures. So she saw 8 p.m. That's all she memorized. All these years living in colonial time in Belgian Congo, curfew is what she knew. She said 8 p.m. I knew I had to be back before 8 p.m. So I was back before 8 p.m. And she went out there with her sign in Baluba, in Kiluba. So she didn't write her sign in English. It was in Luba.
Let's see it. Let's see it.
I'll read.
Okay.
It says, Tujitwela, Lubila, Lwabisonji kumensu. Wambila mwena Amerika, aleke la kunshebeya, dikonga difika, aleke la kashijikenda. So she put this, and I'm sure people in the march, they were looking at her sign thinking, what language is that? She's asking for America to please not kill people of dark skin. That's what it says in her message. She was so excited to find, finally, because she kept looking for where the marching were, and she doesn't speak English. And before I finished my remote learning and telling her, and I'm worried like she will get lost, she called me, she said, I found the march and I have my Congolese flag. I am here. And I said, Mom, take a picture. She said, my memory is full. So I was videotaping her in a video. I said, so call me and I'll videotape in a video. So that's how I have like a memory of my mom responding to the summon of all Black mothers, of all mothers. to respond to the cry of these children that didn't know how to play as ndugus.
Thank you, Simba. I love you and Dougal.